Okay. 3.1 savings accounts. So, fairly general. Interest is money that you get or a bank gets for using their money. So if you are receiving interest, that means they're using your money for something. And if you are paying interest, then you are using their money. A transaction is just something that has to be recorded, such as a deposit or a withdrawal. And interest is just the PRT, principal times rate times time. This is just basic interest, okay? So how much will be earned on $5,000 at 2% interest for 10 years? So we have 5,000, because that's the principal, times the rate. Well, that has to be 0.02. And then time must be in years. So if for some reason they give you months, you have to turn it into years, and we'll do that, okay? So then luckily this is for 10 years. So when we do the multiplication, we are actually going to get $1,000, which is a lot of interest. You're not going to find that. Okay, so dealing with different amounts of time, okay? So it says find the interest for 6 months on 400. I don't know that that's supposed to say 60, but oh yeah, it is. Okay, at 1.5% annual interest paid semi-annually. So semi-annually just means they're going to give you your interest twice a year, which really isn't very relevant right now. So we're going to deal with that later, okay? So we're going to go principal, and I think it's a weird amount, so it comes out at normal amount. Okay, interest percentage. Okay, you need to, if you struggle with this, you need to write it out as 1.5% so that you can move it back to, because if you don't, you're going to have the wrong amount of interest. So 0.015 times, well, if this has to be in years, I apologize, my thing's a little bit off. Okay, 6 months, so you can either say 6 out of 12 months, or you can do just half a year. It doesn't matter, but it's the same thing. So if I put these in my calculator, $400.60 times 0.015 times 1/2, or 6 over 12, I'm going to get $3. Okay. All right, so what interest is paid for 3 months? So 3 months would be 3 over 12, or 1/4, whichever one you want to use. Doesn't really matter. And then 2 1/4 is going to be 2.25%. Okay, so then we're going to do 860 times, well, if I move this back to 0.0225, and then we're going to multiply it by either one of those. It really doesn't matter. I like to do the actual number of months. So when we do the math, it's $4.84. Okay. All right. So then if you would like to try one, okay. So for 1 month, it's going to be 1 over 12. Your percent move back is going to be 0.031. So then you'll just take the 350 times 0.031 times 1/12 equals a whopping 90 cents. Woohoo! Okay, So, compound amount, compound interest. Basically, what this means is you are going to have it in, I don't understand why this is so off. You're going to have this in, now I do, sorry. Where you're getting interest more often. It's when it says compounded quarterly, it means every quarter they figure how much interest that they owe you and they put that in. So then the next quarter you would actually be earning money on what was there before and that little bit of interest versus them just saying, okay, we're going to give you $3 interest every year. Well, they only put it in once a year, so you're not earning interest on that interest until the next year. So the compound amount is the total money that's in the account at the end of the period, okay? Compound interest is just if you take the compound amount and subtract what you actually put in there, that would tell you the interest. So we're going to try one. Okay. So Larry made an ATM deposit of, which really doesn't matter that it's an ATM, but of $800 in a savings account that pays 2% annual interest compounded quarterly. Okay. No other deposits or withdrawals. If the interest is calculated and paid April 1st and July 1st, find the account balance on July 1. And let me show you why they give you these dates. If you're doing quarterly, you're going January 1 to March 31st. April 1 to June 30th. July 1, September, October. Nope. September, my bad, sorry. 30th. And then October 1 to December 31st. Okay, so that's quarterly. So they're just saying if interest is calculated and paid on April 1st, so basically after quarter 1, they put the interest in, okay? So we are going to do we'll start with what's happening at basically at the end of quarter 1 is $800 times 2%, and quarterly is 1 quarter. So you will get $4, okay? Then that money gets added in because after the first quarter, now you have $804. Okay? So then you multiply it again by 0.02 and again by 1/4, and you get $4.02. And yes, that's not a huge difference, but say it was in hundreds of thousands of dollars, that makes a big difference. So we come down here and we add this. So this is quarter 1, quarter 2. So then we add the $4.02. So if you were to continue on, quarter 3 would start with $808.02. Okay? So the question is, or that what they're wanting you to do, if interest is calculated and paid on April 1 and July 1, find the account balance, meaning the compound amount, and the compound interest on July 1. So this is going to be the account balance, also known as compound amount, okay, and then these two things added together, so $8.02, that is the interest, compound interest. So those are the two things it actually asks for, okay? All right, so now we have compound interest tables. So these are on page 82. Okay, so it's what a dollar is worth after it's compounded at different interest rates and different periods. And periods do not mean years. Okay? So page 82 is a little bit clearer, but this one's not too bad. Okay? So there are 4 steps to finding compound interest using the table. Okay? So we need to find the number of periods for the amount of time, okay? So we're going to find compound interest paid on a $400 deposit that earns interest at an annual rate of 2%, compounded quarterly for 10 years. So if it's done 4 times every year for 10 years, that's the number of periods. So we're going to go 4, because that's quarters, times 10 years. So the number of periods is 40. And that's what you would be looking at over here on this chart. Okay? So then we need to find the interest earned on each of those periods, because it's 2% annual, but it's done 4 times. So they're not going to give you 2%, 2%, 2%, 2%. That's 8, okay, for a year. So you actually have to take the 2%, and you don't need to change it into a decimal, and you are going to divide it by 4 quarters. So each quarter, they're going to earn 0.5% interest per quarter, okay? And if you look here, we have 0.5 or 0.50%. So you'd be looking here, okay? So then we look and we want 40 and 0.5. So we're going to write down this number, and hopefully you can see it. And you must use the entire thing. So 1.2207794. And we're going to multiply it by the amount that you put in. So we're going to get, sorry, it's going to go off the paper. So $488.32. Okay? This is how much is in the account. This is not the amount of interest. This is the amount in the account. So we're going to take the amount in the account, or the compound amount. So this is compound amount. And we're going to subtract the principal. So then the compound interest is $88.32. Okay, that's why this chart is so great, because if we didn't have that chart, we would have had to do this 2 more times to finish a year, and then 10 times that. So it's really great that there's a chart. Okay? So then I imagine not very often is it compounded daily if you're earning it, but it might be if you're paying it. So because they can't possibly give 365 days times, 30 years, okay, this is done differently. So this one you don't have to do the periods, okay, and we're just going to use the percent so we don't have to do this. We just do this times the amount. So we like that, right? Okay, so here we go. So we have a $1,200 deposit, earns annual interest of 4%, compounded daily. So the daily chart is this one. So this, to know it's the daily chart, it's going to say years, okay? Not periods. Okay, so 3 years, 4%. So 3 years, and we'll go 4%. 3 years, 4%. I have 1.127489. 1.27489. And then we just multiply that by the 1,200. And that will give us $1,352.99. So that's the compound amount. So then we still have to subtract the 1,200 that was invested or whatever. $152.99 compound interest. Okay, so then this one is going to be the one where we have to do the 4 steps, and then this one is daily. So this will use the daily chart, and this will not, because it says semi-annually, and semi-annually is twice a year. Okay, so the 4 steps, we have to find the periods. So periods, so semi-annually is 2 times a year times 3 years. So that's 6 periods. Okay, and then percent, we have to do 3% divided by that same 2, the semi. Okay, so that's 1.5%. So then we find the chart. So we're going to look up 6 periods at 1.5%. So it's let me write this down, 1.093443 is what I have. Okay. So then you would multiply that by 1,100. It says what compound interest? So we're going to have to find the compound amount, 1.093443 times 1,100 is $1,202.79. So then we're going to subtract the 1,100. So $102.79, my bad, interest. Okay, so then we have an $850 savings deposit for 2 years and earns 3% annual interest compounded daily. Okay, so we get to use the daily chart, which we love that. So we want 2 years and we want 3%. So 2 years, 3%. So I've got 1.061834. We're going to multiply that by the $850. So 1.061834 times 850 is $902.56. So that is the compound amount, is this. And then the interest, we have to subtract the 850. So $52.56. Interest. So the interest is that. Okay. So then your assignment is that.